PR Connections Radio presents. This episode of the PR Connections podcast is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PR Connections Radio Show at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. My name is Guy Dawson, and I am your host. Today, I am with a very good friend of mine that I have known from the networking community here in Las Vegas for many years. Her name is Becky Stonebarger. She's the owner of the Beacon Center, and she is a prolific networker. And as I mentioned before, we met in the networking community. She was hosting networking events. Wow, I guess back 2014, 15, maybe, Becky, many years ago. And we have been networking partners for many years. I have always appreciated her commitment to helping businesses succeed through networking. And so we're going to talk today about some of the aspects of an extremely important part of business, and that is connecting with people who you could refer business to and who can refer business to you. Becky, welcome to the PR Connections Radio Show.
Thank you, Guy. It's so good to see you and to get to connect again. So many years ago, meeting with you was just such an honor, and to circle back around this many years later and still be connected is amazing. That's what networking is about.
Yes, the relationships, Becky. You meet someone in a networking event, and you're connecting. I know you were hosting these groups, and the groups, the BCN groups, were really helping a lot of people. And, you make friendships in these networking groups. In business, you meet a lot of people because entrepreneurship is quite a journey. But there are certain people that you make these connections with, and you are definitely one of those, Becky, where decades, right?
Yes.
For decades, you're still, you have friendships. And so I'm just, I'm really happy, Becky, to see that you have been able to maintain a business, because as you know, sustainability in business is not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's not. And I have to go back to the original networking of the networking group. While that was a business, and it actually branched off me doing business strategists with having dedicated clients that hired me all the way to the Beacon Center, my current passion right now, which it's a venue space, 2,200 square foot venue space that people can rent to hold their own meetings and their own events and their networkings. And it's 4 walls. So whatever you want to hold within those 4 walls, we can make that happen. And honestly, that was born from the networking group. The group grew so big and so strong with business owners and community leaders that we needed more space. So the Beacon Center was born, and here we are almost 11 years later, made it through, as we know, that horrible time of the year of our decade, and which is very, very difficult for an event center, for somebody who relies on people getting together. It was a good struggle, but made it through, weathered through, and here we are on the other end, doing great. So what it all boils down to, though, is it started with networking, and it still continues with networking. I'm still involved with networking. I'm involved with a local networking group that Zooms every Monday night. I'm involved with, I run my own speed networking on once a month where business owners in the community can come in and meet 30 to 60 business owners that they've never met in an organized manner. So a little bit different than a typical mixer or a networking meeting per se.
Yeah, and the cornerstone of it all was networking. Becky, as you mentioned, you were able to leverage, I guess, relationships. I mean, tell me about networking for you. What has drawn you to this element of business? As you mentioned before, of course, it's a really important aspect of being able to acquire clients. But in particular, with you doing so much networking throughout all of these years, what has been the major advantage you found in applying yourself in this aspect of business?
The main thing that I learn and try to practice in networking is it's not about me. Believe it or not, it's not about me. People go out there networking. Oh, I've got to find, it's got to be worth it. It's got to be worth it. You're not going to find it that day, that time. It's a time and a place. It's about being known, about, I always reference it back, and I might be dating myself, but to the old TV show Cheers, where Norm would come into the bar, the soundtrack would yell, Norm. He always sat at the same seat at the end of the bar, never changed. It was very consistent. And that's what networking, to me, that's what networking is about, is consistency, is to be there for people, be that connection. Again, another dating thing is there used to be a commercial that the Shell gas station used to run which was called the Shell Answer Man. And you used to be able to call a phone number and get car advice. And they had all the advice. Starting networking back in 2012, I've created this database where I'm that networking answer person. I get a lot of calls, emails, people reaching out asking, hey, do you know somebody that does X, Y, or Z? And that makes you stand out a little bit different than others. So it really is serving your community, and I'm really focused on being heart-centered first. So by being heart-centered, it keeps everything else in alignment, and the business will come to you when it's supposed to be. It really is out of our hands, because we can make the phone ring, but we can't make the customers buy. So they might inquire, but they have to make that decision to buy all on their own. So it's networking that's going to do it. And I'm a believer in face-to-face networking as much as possible. I'm also an ambassador for the Vegas Chamber. So networking is very important to me. I personally actually have a goal of connecting three different sets of people together. So that's 6 people a day. And I reach that goal quite frequently. That's always a goal, and it has nothing to do with me. They're not connecting to do business with me or anything. It is totally me connecting 2 people together that are a good fit for each other. And that's what real authentic networking is. It's not about going out there and pushing your business cards and your invitation and flyers to people, or taking over a conversation when you've got, limited time. You need to talk. You need to give that a good picture of what sets you apart. You can pick any realtor, financial planner. They all sell the same thing, but it's them. That's what you have to network, is the selling of themselves and their abilities and what makes them the choice to do, because the products are the same. So that's being authentic, I think, is really, really, really a difference in being successful with networking.
Yeah, the know, like, and trust element that you touched on, Becky, and with so many people, when you've been networking, I've been networking in this town since 2008. So I've come across, just like you, thousands and thousands of people. And you rarely come across someone who really understands how to network. As you mentioned before, you come across a lot of people are out and they're doing it. And I mean, I applaud anyone that has the courage to start their own business and get out there and try to generate business, right? So I know you and I are in agreement when it comes to that. But the more distinct points of being an effective networker, a lot of people just lack that. They're just always pitching their businesses. They just don't understand that that's not really what networking is about. Right. The more that you try to cram your business down people's throats, very few people are going to be open to that. And yes, understanding that you are there to be of service, and through you being of service, and this is why I feel we're kindred souls, Becky, is because we both understand that through service, you're naturally, you can call it blessings, karma, whatever verbiage you want to use, you will receive more business as a result of your being of service to other people. I wish more networkers understood. That was an excellent point that you were just talking about.
Right. Well, one of my favorite books that really inspired me about being a true authentic networker is Seth Godin's Purple Cow. And it talks about the a purple cow and how remarkable it was. Well, when you think about it and you break it down, what he explains is it's not remarkable like in this is amazing, remarkable. It's remarkable in people talk about it. They're remarking about it. And so that's what you want to be. You want to be remarkable. You want to you want to leave that lasting impression so people know that you're a connector, that they can go to you if they're nervous and afraid to meet somebody. There's so many things that are basics that people who are networking should do. Wear a name tag, because nobody ever, if I reach out, shake a hand and say, hi, I'm Becky with the Beacon Center, they've already forgotten my name. If I have a name tag, it's reinforcing it. Have paper business cards, because it takes more time to do the QR codes. And the fact is, people don't hit to save it into their contact list. So it takes more of that time, that precious time. And there's so many little tips, little easy tips that people could do to set themselves apart from those to use an unkind word, those business pukers. Nobody wants to have businesses just thrown at them and be made and forced to listen to sales pitches when there's music and noise in the environment, and it's just not a conducive time. So you need to get out there, not look at every person in the room as the person you need to connect with, but you need to find what I call it is your elephant in the room. You need to know when you go in who that elephant is, and you need to go after that elephant. And it always helps to have your networking partners like you and I, Guy, where before the event you say, my tonight's elephant is X, Y, or Z, and I know what your elephant is, because that's authentic networking, is that we're finding leads for each other that are true leads, and not just going fishing. We're actually elephant hunting. So there's a difference.
Yes, and you also talked about your database, Becky, which I think is also undervalued in the networking community with professionals and small business owners, is understanding that with every one of these networking events that you attend, be it a mixer, you had mentioned that there are essentially, I'd like to get into more details too about the 3 types of networking events that generally people participate in, but be whatever type of networking event that you participate in and you capture physical business cards, or nowadays, I know a lot of people are using digital business cards, but you're making these contacts when you attend a networking event. And then now you have the elements of a database. And as you had mentioned before, you've been cultivating this database since 2012. Maybe you could speak to the value of having a database. And I know a lot of people in business don't realize they have absolute gold amongst all those business cards that they have sitting on one of their shelves sometimes, or maybe you could speak to how you're able to utilize your database to help you in business.
Well, I'm fortunate enough that, like you had mentioned, that I've been collecting information since 2012 with business owners, their email addresses, their contacts information. So cross-referencing when somebody does call or email me saying, hey, do you know somebody who does X, Y, or Z? I can very quickly pull up some, not just one referral where it looks like, hey, you're my buddy and I'm sending you to my buddy. But here's a selection of people that have stood out in my memory, and you can then vet them for yourself. And that's what a networker does also, is they give you options. They don't narrow it down saying this is who you need to use. Yeah, there's huge value in it. I know when I set up a new program, I've set up a program where I'm actually marketing to people who that sell, or they market to seniors, because I have a PDF that I can give them to use as a lead magnet. So I'm able to go to my database and pull anybody that's in the healthcare industry, the insurance industry, the financial planning industry, all of these people who might be able to benefit by giving away a free PDF that I have created. So sharing this kind of information of, I've got it already created, so why not give it to other people to be able to give away as well? That project, I was able to go to my database and pull information. I do these speed networkings. I was able to go to my database, pull people from back in 2012 who was networking with me that are, and bring them back into the surface, and where they know I didn't forget them. That's the whole thing is if you meet people, you need to do something with it. And many times, of course, I can't follow up with every single person that I have met, but many times they typically all get an email from me afterwards, and then it's their choice if they want to follow back up with me or not. But they get the email thanking them for their time. And it's just, there's so many ways that data can be used. I know I had a health issue myself going on. I was able to go to my database and find somebody that could help me with my own personal health issue as well. So business and community, nonprofits. I like to highlight nonprofits at my events. So I'm able to go to my nonprofit database and pull out a nonprofit to be highlighted at my events. So it's quite valuable when you've got a good database.
Yes, and the three distinct types of networking events, Becky, maybe you could go into more details about those.
Yeah, so the typical, when you think of I'm going to get out there and I'm going to network, the first thing that comes to mind with most people is going to a meeting. You may or may not have to pay to be a member of the meeting, but you go to a meeting where it's business owners, and you bring guests, you bring referrals to each other. That's a typical, I think that's how you and I met originally, was doing typical networking. That's what I ran starting in 2012 to 2017, was that style of networking. When you add it up, though, in those type of networking, and you really get to thinking about it, you will maybe meet average, let's just say on a good side, let's say there's 4 visitors a week. So you're meeting 16 people in a month of your drive time there, your drive time back, plus an hour and a half of your networking event meeting. You're 2.5 hours into it, maybe. So that's the first one. The second one, and that's per week, 2.5 hours per week. The second one is mixers, open mixers. People you can go, have a cocktail, go to the bar, pick something up, maybe have some snacks that they're offering. There's no control on how much time people talk, who you talk to, it's just total open, free flow. Everybody come as you are, do your thing. So that's the meetings and mixers are what the typical people lean toward. What I provide is called speed networking. So think about speed dating. So you reserve a seat. And the important thing about this is you're reserving a seat. So if you have a seat and you don't show up, you're knocking someone else out of a seat, or a partner sitting across from their table, and it becomes an administrative nightmare for the person running the event. So what it is where you have 30 to 60 people. In my case, for my venue, we have 30 to 60 people in the room. They're all going to be new people, and they're going to rotate among people, and there's going to be a timer. So you have absolutely 4 minutes to meet, introduce yourself, and find out if you have a reason or a road path to collaboration. If so, you exchange the information, the ding or dings, you move to the next person. There's nobody over talking. It's 4 minutes. So you yourself is going to make sure that that you get your 2 minutes. So it's accountability also, because it's only 4 minutes. It's organized. Yes, it can get noisy because everybody is talking at the same time. But you hyper focus on the one conversation across the table. We use thinner tables, so it's just an 18-inch table instead of a big table. So that helps the noise level as well to bring it down. So speed networking is a much more efficient, because you're meeting 30 to 60 people in an hour and a half, in the same amount of time that you would be going to a weekly meeting to meet 18 people. You're meeting 30 to 60 one time a month. So I've been doing these for a little while now, and the attendance has grown and grown and grown. And it's quite popular as a different way of networking and being more efficient and authentic, because that's really what I go after, is that authentic, finding those authentic relationships. And you got to go through and kiss a lot of frogs before you find those authentic relationships. So
yes, I love the environment that you're creating through these events, Becky. Again, the organization, you're setting people up for success by putting them in an environment where they can be the most efficient with their networking. That's something that I have definitely learned through the years, Becky. You talked about kissing a lot of toads, because that's all a part of the process. You know, we're all in business. We all have different goals. But being very efficient in the way that I network now, as compared to back in 2012, when I was really, you remember, we were just out there all the time, meeting people. And over time, as you become a more seasoned networker, I think you learn how to pick your spots, and putting yourself in an environment like this speed networking format that you have allows you to be able to cut to the chase. You're more likely going to be sitting across from people who are really serious about their business, and it helps you to be much more efficient in your networking, because time is money. The time that you're spending out there looking for business, being the most efficient with that time is very important.
Yes. And the nice thing is the demographics every month is different. So this past one that we had last Friday, there was I'd say at least 6 people in the healthcare industry and maybe 4 in the construction industry. The month before that, it was heavier in another industry of some type. I think that one was the cleaning industry and something else. Anyway, so it changes. It's always going to be different. The goal is to go. You can't meet 60 people and follow up with 60 people in a month. So the goal isn't necessarily to come every single month. The goal is to come when you need to fill your pipeline again and meet new people. It's because of the rotation in and the rotation out. It's not something where you need to necessarily put it on your calendar and show up every single month. You can, but keep in mind, we have 60 people who do that. Then we're going to have 60 people meeting the same 60 people. So we want that rotation. We also really stress for business professionals. So not necessarily the network. It's not a good place for network marketing people. It's people who are out there meeting other business professionals is what we appeal to. So that has distinguished us a little bit different as well, is that we're sticking with the professional businesses. And then, and And then we follow it up with that weekly meeting that we do through Best Business Alliance networking group, which that's a Zoom meeting where on a Monday night, it's a nice, easy night of networking. And it's a hybrid basically. So once a month, they're doing the speed networking with me as my co-hosts. And then every Monday they're doing a Zoom, like expo on Zoom where guests can come for free. And it's a great blend. And then we're on a quarterly basis, or still trying to figure out exactly how often, but we're doing then in-person evening mixers. So we're blending all three of the types of networking. We're doing it but with Zoom for hybrid, and the speed networking and also that mixer. So that's one of the things that has been really appealing with partnering with Best for that. And that's a local networking group, bestnetworking.us is their website, and great group of people. So it's been great to partner with them with the speed networking to be able to help fill each other's pipelines, basically.
Yes, Best is a networking group that I would highly recommend. As Becky mentioned, we're both members of it. Online networking has really started to grow, especially since COVID. And there's advantages to in-person networking, but I think there are also advantages to online networking, Becky, in terms of, again, not having to drive. You don't have to, and you can still create the same types of relationships. And you set up a Zoom meeting with the people that you meet at the networking group, and you're essentially accomplishing exactly what you would if you were in person at a networking event.
As my grandson says all the time, gas ain't cheap. They learn at 16 gas, so and again, there's more and more of businesses that don't have the brick and mortar, and they do work from home, from their computers. More businesses are that online type businesses, and trying to get away. The drive time there, the drive time back. So I really like what Best has set up. It's taken those three styles of networking and combining the three into a great hybrid solution for any professional person who wants to network. And it's full of great networking tips too, because it's got people like you and I as involved in it.
And you mentioned earlier you are the owner of the Beacon Center, and I'm sure there are lots of different types of events that you host there. Maybe you could share with the audience the types of events that you've held in there.
Yeah. So just a little basis, we're a 2,200 square foot venue space. We're located just right behind Allegiant Stadium. So you can't get much more central in Vegas than where we're at. We've been there since 2015. And we started off just hosting business meetings, using our space to allow other business professionals to be able to have an affordable venue space. I had the philosophy I'd rather have the venue space rented hourly and have it rented than have it empty where it's a liability to me and an expense. So I opened the venue, started renting it on an hourly basis, and it took off perfect. Really no struggles, no red months until pandemic happened. And then, but shortly after I opened, I kept getting phone calls. Do you allow baby showers? Do you allow birthday parties? I kept saying, no. One day I hung up the phone. I turned to my husband and said, why don't we? And then events became born at the Beacon Center. So about 6 months, I guess, after we opened, we started allowing social events also. Started off, created a package, portable packages, so that people that are maybe 80 people and below, sweet spots 50 to 60, has a space to go that's affordable, that's not like the big ballrooms that are out there on the strip with all the minimums and so forth. So started allowing that. We really focus a lot and do a lot of celebration of life. That's after the funerals or after the services, people come and gather, the families gather, or maybe they didn't have a service and they want to have speakers and some sort of a service at the venue. So that it became extremely popular. But things that have, as far as, I don't want to name drop because I have had a lot of people over the almost 11 years of being in business of large corporations who have used the venue. We're a good spot for those companies that are coming in town for a conference and they want to get their salespeople together to do a launch of a new product or an appreciation cocktail party or their clients or their salespeople. So trainings, companies coming into Vegas to do trainings, and they want to avoid that strip environment, that strip minimums and requirements, and have a private venue without the cigarette smoke and machines. So, there's venue space out there for everyone. And we just happened to open one that is very heart-centered, community-centered. I don't have employees, so I don't escalate pricing just to cover the higher operating expenses. So we're very fair and never have taken a price increase yet since we opened. So, that's pretty proud too with the pandemic that everyone went through, that we were still able to maintain our pricing. So that's kind of what we do and the type of people that we serve.
Well, it's such a pleasure to have you on the podcast today, Becky, and I wish you nothing but continued success. I know the Beacon Center, again, it's a venue. It's so hard to believe that it's been 11 years already. I remember when you just opened that venue, but I know over that time that you have served a lot of people, and some of the things that Becky mentioned, especially for those of us that are local here in Las Vegas, event centers that are a little bit away from the Las Vegas Strip can sometimes provide a lot of value. As she mentioned, you don't have the traffic, you have to pay for parking at most of those casinos now. And Becky's venue it's very cozy. Her technology is outstanding. And I just wish you continued success with the things that you're doing, Becky. And yes, again, it's great to see people who succeed in business because it is definitely, especially when you're trying to get through something like COVID, where you're an event center and as you mentioned, you're driven by people physically showing up to attend things and getting through that. That's warrior spirit. Yeah. Business owners have a warrior spirit, and I know you have that spirit.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on and giving me an opportunity to speak to your audience. Is it okay if I share my website?
Absolutely.
So my website is thebeaconcenter.com. So very simple. And just go to thebeaconcenter.com. If you do want to check out the speed networking, just put in /speed.
All right. Well, wonderful, Becky. And thank you all for tuning into the PR Connections show here at prconnectionsradio.com. Do you know that you can watch this podcast on all of our video streaming platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. And you can also listen to this podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and about 20 other audio streaming platforms. So, and this show, along with all the other shows at our network, prconnectionsradio.com. If you want to watch all of our shows, that is our headquarters, prconnectionsradio.com. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I look forward to getting together with all of you when we host our next one. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks.
PR Connections Radio presents